Why did you start your business? What's the goal? What's the direction you want to take it? Where's your business plan? Where's your financial plan? Do you have a set of core values? Do you have SOPs? If you don't have any of those things, it's really still just a hobby. And then do you want to take it to those places? I think that would be the biggest question to ask yourself is, where do I want this to go? What do I see this doing? How do I turn this into the vehicle that I want to turn it into to get me where I want to go? Or if you don't. Then just tell people, thank you, but no thank you. Keep me in mind next time. I'm not able to help right now.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is your first time here. This is OGSR, as in Old Guys Still Rock. If we have a girl with us, it'll be Old Guys Still Rock and Old Girls Still Rock, whatever it may be. But again, if this is your first time here, I'm Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong, Coldwell Banker. I am a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate inside of the Coachella Valley. If you've never heard the Coachella Valley before, it's basically Palm Springs, Palm Desert, La Quinta, Rancho Mirage. Hopefully you've been around or at least heard of that, of those cities. If you haven't, look up a map and find it. That's the Coachella Valley. It stretches 30 some odd miles, maybe 40 miles of this little strand out here in the desert, becoming the next new playground out here. But on my left, possibly your right, depending, it switches every time that we edit this thing. But anyway, a good friend of mine and co-host of this show, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated. He's located in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. In just a moment, we'll ask him how his weather is. But in the meantime, again, first time here. This is a man with many different businesses over the last 30 plus years, from business coaching to personal coaching to wellness centers, body shops, detail shops, payroll companies, property owner of so many different homes that either rents or flips, whatever that may be, or just to put them under his portfolio. But the biggest thing that I could tell you about him right now, and there's 102 other episodes that we have on here that you can go back and see if he's a fit for you. Really, really good business coach and really good personal coach. And the reason why I say that, he has a knack of peeling back the onion, get you uncomfortable to answer the comfortable questions. So again, anyways, if you're kind of stuck, which we're going to talk a little bit about today on today's topic, but if you're feeling a little stuck, either business or personal life, I highly recommend you to go back and look at 102 episodes and really find out if it's a fit for you. And if it's not, because, sometimes I'm better at him at some things, and you may want to call me. So if you like what any of us say, reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you. That's a whole reason for this podcast. Again, this is Old Guys Still Rock. We are on episode number 103. Little housekeeping real quick. If you've been following us, if you're one of our 70 plus subscribers on YouTube and Spotify, or you watched a couple episodes and you haven't subscribed, first and foremost, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. So when we do put out a new episode, you're notified right away. If you have been following us, you haven't shared the show yet, we really, really, really need you to share the show. So it's pretty easy. Just copy the link, send it to 3 or 4 of your good friends, have them give us some feedback of what they like and what they don't like. And that's how we're going to get better. We don't have any sponsors or no advertisers that control what we get to say. So we get to pick our topics every week. And that's pretty good. So that was my super long intro today. But how are you doing, my dude? How is Eugene, Oregon?
Yeah, you're looking at your sponsors and advertisers, right?
Right. Right here, back here.
Yeah.
You got Brent Wright Incorporated. I said, all those things. So that's how we fund the show. So
I'm doing well. I woke up in America, could still hang my flag today. Didn't wake up to AK-47 fire around the corner and no RPGs. So feeling pretty blessed. Got my First Form energy drink. So feeling pretty good
drinking today.
Screaming freedom, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, buddy. That'll hit you in the back of the throat.
That'll hit you in the back of the head and
Yeah,
smack you around a little bit.
You get it to get some. If you have guys who've never tried First Form energy drinks, this is not an ad.
No.
It's pretty good. You can start finding them in a lot of stores. I don't know what stores you. I know that you get them direct because you're wellness centers,
Yeah.
but do you have any stores out there that sell them?
Nope, not one.
Okay. So we have a couple of nutrition stores out here that have them. I do order them direct from First Form. It's just I like going straight to the companies when we start doing that stuff instead of through Amazon. But obviously, small businesses out here can use them, but a little bit bigger scale. I'm really looking forward to what I've been waiting forever because I'm such a big fan of this. Is the grape one? They keep talking about grape.
Good luck.
I love grape. Dude.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it even out yet?
No.
Yeah.
No. Our rep said still coming. Still coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So what's going on in Eugene weather today?
Well, it was pretty nice this morning, and then it started raining on the way into the office this morning at 5:30. It was about 5:35, but yeah, it was rainy. It's been drizzly again. 2 days this week. It feels like we're at the coast. It's kind of like socked in, low level fog, a little bit of drizzle. It's kind of funky, and then in the afternoon it burns off and it's sunny, but it doesn't really get. It's supposed to be 77 on Saturday though.
Wow. You're going to match our heat.
Yes, we're 53 right now. So,
yeah. We're kind of getting to our summer months. We got a couple of triple digits headed. Well, actually, we're going to be today at 105, but it's not hot yet. It's not hot yet.
That's not summer. That's hell.
Not hot yet. I'm okay with 105. It's when we start sniffing the 110s and 115s. We had a lot of 120s last summer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping to stay away from this year. The 105s are super manageable because it's kind of during the day. We typically have winds. It's hot. Don't get me wrong. But it's not. It's bearable hot. So anyway, you ready to get into this, man? We had some. We had 2 episodes last week.
Yeah.
One of them was a repeat because it was so good from a couple weeks ago. But we really like that. So again, if this is your first time here or you missed a couple episodes and you're checking in this week, go back and watch the last 4 weeks. They really all tie in together. Some really, really good golden nuggets that are kind of sitting through there. But over the last couple of days, I've been thinking like, how do we get better? What's next for us? We have all these different topics. We've had some great guests on. So I reached out to them and I just like, this is going to be more of a Q&A type of thing. We have a couple questions from actually one past guest who's always contributing, and we love him, Ken McCumber, and a good friend of mine, Marita Cariaga. She's got a question out there, but they're really talking about some changes of what changes do I need to make, and it really brought up from one of our mentors, Ed Milet, brought up a little bit ago, called spring cleaning. And once in a while, when you and I were talking about this before we came out, you go through your closet, you do spring cleaning, or you go through your garage and like get rid of all this stuff you're holding on to. And the point of this topic is sometimes we hold on to things that really hold us back. And when we're doing that, it obviously what holds it back to obviously it will stop progression. So have you done any, as I'm pulling up this question here real quick, let me just get on here. So my first question, again, comes from Ken McCumber. We're going to get right into this stuff. And he goes, one of his current hurdles that he's having is around an older friendship. I have invested more time. Let's see how we go this. Okay, one of my current hurdles is around an older friendship I have. Invest more time, make it better, or let it be what it is. I've known the guy for over 20 years. Our kids grew up together. We've grown apart, partly due to distance, not seeing each other as much, partly due to life changes. Our kids are grown. We don't have dealing with a bunch of knucklehead sons in common. I've heard the whole adage, friend for a reason, friend for a season, friend for a lifetime. I'd be interested in your thoughts on one, is that adage true to you guys? Two, what would you do if you guys were with me? So basically, since I can't read very well, when we have friendships, do you have those friendships that's good for a season and then some are for a lifetime and whatever, some of them are just whatever? How are you treating those type of when you have friendships? And you and I have a very small circle of friends, right?
Yeah.
And I have some comments, but I'm just curious of what your thoughts are, what Ken's asking in there, how to treat that. It seems like he's kind of like, he has this friend, they had some really good times together, they've moved apart, there's not that common thread anymore. Is it something that we should try to massage, or do you just let it play out?
So I struggle with this a lot. And here's why. I don't believe I've done a very good job of auditing my friends and my friend groups and my friendships throughout my life. And here's the reason why I don't believe I've done a good job. Right at coming up, well, this is the beginning of the 8th year. April was the beginning of the 8th year, so 7 years to date, that I stopped drinking. Now, when I used to drink, you and I've drank together. It wasn't like I was an alcoholic. It wasn't like I drank, to excess or oblivion every single day. I wasn't one of those people that, hide booze and drink it without, anybody knowing or anything like that. I didn't have an issue. It was just mostly social. And I always used to say that it made me more human. And if that's true, then there's a reason why most of my friends disappeared after I stopped drinking. We talked about daytime Brent and nighttime Brent. You brought it up. You made a little wise crack on Instagram Messenger the other day about that. And so it is, for me, had I audited those relationships without the influx of a social drink, I might not have had those relationships. I might not have had those friendships. I might not have allowed them to be cultivated and might not have tolerated some of the things that I tolerated during that time period. As soon as I stopped drinking, I had 7 or 8 pretty close friends. Almost, I would tell you 9 close friends. Do you know how many of those people are still around?
I'm hoping 2.
Almost 2. It's like 1.5.
Yeah.
And the half of one is if I call them, they'll always answer. I wouldn't consider them an 811 friend. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. 811 is when you call to dig, right? So where to dig so you don't hit a power line or a gas line, right? So they're not quite an 811 friend, but if I called them and said, hey, in the middle of the night, my car's broke down on the side of the road. I'm not far from your house. Can you give me a ride? They would do that. And I'm not saying they would drop everything in a hat to be there for me, but it's likely that they would. There's probably a 90% chance that they would help me out if I was in a pinch or in a pickle. But our whole relationship was centered around, well, I asked him, how come you don't stop by anymore? We don't have any beer at your house. Well, how do you know? Have you stopped by? I might have a beer at my house. Well, you don't drink, so you probably don't have beer at your house. Just because I don't drink doesn't mean I don't have beer at the house. I'm a reasonable host. Just because I don't doesn't mean you shouldn't. Now, if you're going to get blistering drunk around my kids, I'm probably going to escort you off the property. But beyond that, no, it's not a thing. But I would tell you, like I said, I haven't been good at auditing those. I could have done a better job. I should have done a better job. I've definitely become more aggressive about auditing my friend group since having kids, because you know what you have around your kids is what they're learning and seeing, and they're sponges, and they're in, anything less than 15 or 16, they're just going to sponge everything up. And I don't want them around drunk people. I don't want them around people that don't have their crap together. I don't want my kids to be normal. I don't want to be normal.
Yeah, you get to that point, right? Too, if you have and again, each your own. How you raise your kids, that's on you, and you deal with the, everyone makes a choice, and there's consequences with every choice. We've talked about that a lot of time, but I think you said that's a big thing, especially with your kids on there. So if you put them around there, that can be a detriment, but it also could be a detriment to you, because are you really progressing? Are you trying to get better? Are you just staying with this big word that I've had this week, is this word complacency, of like, you know what, just everything's for the most part okay, it's manageable. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I myself, when I said I was daytime Blair, I made some comments about a gathering that I was at. It brought up some old triggers, dude. So you knew me back in the day in Eugene, and my lifestyle was a little rough when I lived back there.
Fast and loose, buddy.
Fast and loose, right?
Yep.
And I was at this gathering, and it was fun. I mean, it was fun and doing some stuff, but it was like, God, is this all we got? Am I going back to the same thing that I left because I didn't want to be anymore? Is this what these friendships are going to become, that we have to sit around and have a good time with libations and stuff like that? So I made a comment that I just, someone said, "Did you have fun?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was okay." And it wasn't towards them. It was like, I just don't want to be around it right now. It's like, if you guys want to do it, do it. I'm cool with that. But it got taken in the wrong context, and they were completely offended, and it got out, and they were saying, well, it kind of, there was a perception that I was being hoity-toity. I'm like, dude, that's not it. I was like, I had that life. I just don't want to go back down that life, because, it's an okay today and okay tomorrow, and then it's the next day, and all of a sudden it's 30 days and 45 days, and you just kind of you get caught in this rut, and all of a sudden you're like, are these really meaningful relationships, or they're not meaningful relationships? To where I am, I'd rather have 3, 4, 5, 6 people around a dinner table, have super intimate conversations for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then be done. And just go. That's where my brain works. So, I mean, again, going back to that answers that question, but going back and expanding on what you said about auditing your friends and talking about what Ken just asked, I think that's a big thing, is maybe like an A, B, or C friend. Is a C friend like, hey, I'm going to talk to you once in a while, see you, high five, and we'll maybe play golf or see each other in the summer? Or is it a B friend, like, you know what, it's a budding relationship, I'm gonna invest in some time in this and see where this goes? Or is it A friendship that is, I'm gonna have the highs and lows? Like your and my relationship is like that. We have some high moments, we have some low moments, but even on this podcast that we have, we're investing into each other, right?
It's continual.
It's continual.
Yeah.
And it's been going on. I mean, again, there's been peaks and valleys of this relationship, but we've invested in so many different ways, because we know there's certain things that are said, there's certain things that are done over the course of almost 30 years knowing you, and you knowing me. There's certain things been done that, like, you know what, I'll just use it first where I would say, where I was going to swear, but I'm going to swear. He can be a dick. He can be an asshole sometimes, but the guy's consistent, right?
I'm
and I'm
consistently that way.
right. Well, me too, right? You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like we've had some failures and whatever. And so I'm trying to paint this picture for Ken. So it's really going down to what Brent said, Ken, is like audited this. Is like, how much time do you want to invest in it? Is it worth your investment? Are there enough good times and good things that you think that you can thrive with each other? And if that's the case, I think there's going to have to be, just like any sort of relationship, be it with marriage or business, if you feel like there's a substance there, and it's got to be two ways, and you're going to figure it out if it's one way or two way really quick
Mhm.
by you. But Ken, you're going to have to be the catalyst, you. And if you invest in time and you're just still getting nothing over return, and maybe a month, 6 months, a year, then maybe it was for a season.
Yeah.
But since you're asking the question, your friend's not, maybe your friend's asking the question to somebody else, or at least thinking about it. Um, but you're going to have to explore that. And there are going to be qualities about that friendship that you have that you either really like adhere to and think that you can cultivate it to be better, or like, yeah, it was just because our kids played soccer together on Saturday.
Mhm.
We had some barbecues and that was it. I've had a lot of those friends. Um, it's just maybe it's just too, it's like when you go back to wherever you go back to see him, it's hey five, or hey, I'm in town, and if they show up, show up. If they don't, they don't. And it's really going to go back to, I think the best thing that Brent said through all that, is audit it, and really, what do you want to get out of the relationship? How much time do you want to invest in it? And where do you think, if you did those two things to it, where do you think that friendship is going to take you? But it's all gonna come from you, and then hopefully that you can convey that through conversations like Brent and I have every week.
Mhm.
What's next? How do we make this better? Where are we going to go? Those type of things.
I have a good friend of mine. We've engaged on many different levels over the last 20, almost 25 years, right at 25 years. And I called him a while back and I said, hey, I don't want this call to just come off like I only call you when I need something from you.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go through all the niceties for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to ask you my question. How's that land with you? And he laughs and he's like, well, I can appreciate that. That's super cool. He said, most people just call and ask the question, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, I truly want to know these other things, but the type of person that I am, I'm a person of execution. I want to execute at a high level. And so I tend to overstep the 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 highest level of communication that's going to make him feel valued and validated in our relationship, and I go straight for the business side.
Mhm.
And so I know that the other part's important to him. So even though I brought it up and made fun of it, that
Mhm.
I typically don't do that, but I was going to make a point to do it. It landed different with him. So the next time he called me, he says, I don't want to be that friend. And he kind of made fun of it, but he was also being factual about it because he does the same to me. He calls me for advice. I call him for advice. We call to talk about projects. We're both um, very knowledgeable in a vast array of things, but equally an opposite. Like, I don't know about the things he knows about, and he doesn't know about the things I know about. And we're always trying to grow separately. And we know that if we give each other advice, we're going to grow together better. But I mean, to the point, like he was in my wedding. He's that close of a friend, but we drift back and forth.
Mhm.
It's this ebb and flow thing.
Mhm.
Um, the other thing that I always think about, and this is a selfish thing, maybe a little bit of an ego thing, but I have to ask myself, where were those friends when I was homeless? Or where would they have been? Would they have stuck by me when I was homeless? Because I'll tell you, there was nobody coming and knocking on the back side of my truck and saying, come stay at my house. You know, not one person during that time period 25 years ago in my friend group. They all knew I was living in my truck. I was very vocal about it. I was very upfront about it. It wasn't a badge of honor. It was a badge of reality. You know, yours, I didn't even know that you were living in a freaking closet until
Right.
you told me, because you saw it as a badge of shame, right?
Mhm.
And so I didn't see it as a badge of shame. It was just a badge of reality for me. But there was nobody, you know, like Andy Frisella says, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody came to save me. And none of my friends that I had at the time were even reasonable about reaching out.
Do you think, and let's go back and continue with Ken's thing here for a little bit. First of all, McCumber, when you're listening to this, I'm going to have you, I think a good example for you of where to take this relationship, because I know your relationship with one of your other friends, Ted. I think you and Ted have a relationship that you help elevate each other. And then you have other friendships around the country club that are just, you know, pass it by. Hey, would love to hang out with you. But are you really elevating each other? And so even what Brent was just talking about too, is he has a friend and you check in once in a while and stuff like that. But they're constantly making each other, when they have conversations, they're how do I get better? Right. And then you don't talk for a little bit and it's like, hey, and then you call them like, hey, I'm having this situation. How do I get better? So even though that it's distant, you're constantly elevating each other when you have those conversations. And I think that's where I'm starting to get at, even after many conversations with you. First of all, I have like 3 or 4 or 5 friends that I can really call friends. And then everybody else are just acquaintances.
I like your levels. Are these an A, B, C, D, or E
CW
friend, right?
friends, right?
Yeah.
We use them in business. Is this an A call, or is this a B call, or is this a C call when you're going through your CRM, right? That's how they take you out. But maybe we start teaching your friends that. And same thing we talk about spring cleaning your closet. Maybe you've had a t-shirt for 20 years and you haven't talked to it, or you haven't put that t-shirt on for 19 years. Do you want to invest time to rekindle it, or is it time for it to go see somebody else? And usually if it's been 19 years and you haven't put any time to it, or you know, whatever. Another good example is, you know, which I'd used the other day, but it really hit home with me, is I probably have 75 hats. Kid you not, I'm looking at 15 of them right now. I bought hats that I've never worn. Have you met somebody that you met once or twice and that was it? You just didn't see any substance to it? Why are you keeping it around? Why worry about it? So, Ken, I know you don't, there's not a lot of faith, actually, that Christianity is just not in your wheelhouse right now, and that's totally okay. But I'm just going to use this example. God puts people in your life for a reason, for a season, whatever it may be. But there's investment with those friendships. And if you really see something in there, invest in it, find out where it's going to go, but really ask yourself, how are you getting better with this friendship? I think that's the ultimate thing that I'm really starting to hit home with me. I'm going to put myself around people. I will have acquaintances and people that are fun to go out to dinner with once in a while. But my friendships that, hey, I'm going to pick up the phone and say, heck, how are you doing today? And it may be 30 seconds or whatever, and then invest in that. And if they turn out that they just don't invest back or they burn you, then you just know that it's time to go to Goodwill with them. And that's it.
There's an age old saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So if those people aren't living the lifestyle that you want to live, probably shouldn't be in your friend group.
No.
Again, back to the audit, you know, I mean, it's, I love the ABC thing, just like you said, the CRM rules. That really hit home for me.
Did something good today. All right. All right, McCumber. So your job now is, I think that we talked about that for a good thing too. I'd love to hear your comments for it. So your job is, since you obviously, first of all, thank you for the question. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Second of all, is obviously you've been a massive contributor to our podcast over many times. Share the show with somebody, or use this as a golden nugget, but really share the show with maybe somebody that's struggling with friendships, or, hey, if you hear this conversation, you know what? I just went through the same thing. Here's a podcast, listen to it, see if it hits home. So your job is to share the show. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to another question that I got from Marita Cariaga. She worked with me for a little bit back in the day, about 2 years ago, and she decided that she wanted to go a different arena. And so her question is, good morning. This is really about her business. I guess right now it feels like her business is a hobby, and I'm super lax because business coming to me is just word of mouth. But I feel like other people are controlling my business. So how do I take control? And also, you knowing me, putting myself out there is not my strong suit. So Marita has a flower arrangement business that she started probably about almost a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
She did some things here. I got, a shower here. She actually did our Easter brunch here at the club, did a great job on those stuff. She had some connections to get her in there and do some different things, but really not putting herself out there. She just started an Instagram page about a week ago, but her big thing is, how does she, and I think that's a big thing about business, because you're trying to appease everybody. But in the meantime is, if you start appeasing everybody, they are going to control your destiny. And I'm finding that out in real estate, and I'm trying to switch gears on that for a little bit. But when you're talking to, here's a business coach thing. When you're talking to somebody that the business owner, the entrepreneur is getting controlled by the client, how are you coaching them through that?
This really starts with your why. Why did you start your business? What's the goal? What's the direction you want to take it? Where's your business plan? Where's your financial plan? Do you have a set of core values? Do you have SOPs? If you don't have any of those things, it's really still just a hobby. And then, do you want to take it to those places? I think that would be the biggest question to ask yourself is, where do I want this to go? What do I see this doing? How do I turn this into the vehicle that I want to turn it into to get me where I want to go? Or if you don't. Then just tell people, thank you, but no thank you. Keep me in mind next time. I'm not able to help right now. If you're allowing people to control your narrative of your lifestyle in any way, shape, or form, then you need to draw a line in the sand, whatever that is. If you want to engage into my coaching, I'm happy to do it. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what do you want? And then we can go from there. Because until you define why it is that you're doing what you're doing, nobody's going to be able to help you.
Yeah, and Marita, just in case you want to know, we actually have a couple episodes back. I think it's episode like either 99 or 100. What is your why?
Yeah.
I suggest that you go back and start listening to that, and then go back and listen to a lot of our episodes. And I know that you periodically listen, and I think that's great. But that's, again, this is coming from that. So Marita, this is for you. I've known you for a couple years. You've been kind of finding out what's my purpose. I think along with what's not only your why for your business, but what's my purpose. Recently, almost probably 2 years now, if I'm my calendar's right, or close to being 2 years. You got a baby girl. That's a big why.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be looking towards you for guidance. As Brent said earlier in the episode, it's going to pick up things that you do as a sponge, and there's some different things to it. And Marita, also would suggest this to you too, because I know you have the book, and go back and read the chapter Am I going to be the one?
Mm-hmm.
And the power of one more by Ed Milet. Go back and let that resonate. Maybe do some journaling in there and really start peeling back the onion backwards. You're really going to work backwards to find your forward. But why did you get into the flowers? Um, what was your passion about this? Who triggered you? Like, oh my gosh, you do a really good job at this. You should. This is your wheelhouse. And but it's a lot. Entrepreneurship's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's but this is a great opportunity not only to set a tone for your life, to really take control of your world, because I know that you do a lot for your family. Um, just some background on there, because I've always appreciated about the Cariaga family. They're a Filipino family, probably one of the best cultures that I know in this world, because that their family life is their family life. It's awesome to watch. They typically live real close to each other. They have great parties. They do some different things. So with that being said, understanding the culture of the Filipinos, maybe you're the one, Marita, that even though that you have a lot of successful people in your family, maybe you're the one that gets it to the next level. And people are going to be watching you. This is another fleeting thing for Marita, it's fashion and doing stuff and real estate, blah, 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 whatever it is this is going to be your shining moment. Spotlights on you that you could really take this and get not only yourself to the next level, but really build a foundation for your daughter and for your nephew, your sister, your mom. It doesn't know. I mean, it could be catapult different things. But are you going to be the one that breaks whatever glass ceiling that there may have been out there? And another good thing, I mean, you probably have these conversations. Go to have a good conversation with your brother. Your brother's been very successful in the restaurant business. I'm sure that he's got some great stuff, and even your sister. They all have golden nuggets that they can give you that you can apply to your business to help you get out there. So I think the first and foremost is what Brent said: is really sit down, do some journaling for the next couple of days or maybe a weeks, really finding out your why. And once you find out the why you want to do your business, I would even go back farther. This is what is your purpose in this world? What is your purpose in the Cariaga family? And why do you want, find that and then get your why? It takes a lot, and there may be some tears in there. There may be some frustrations. Get some spongy things so you can throw at the wall if you get frustrated. How did I get here type of thing.
Have you heard that or read that? It's been going around the internet again. It went around a couple years ago about the Mexican fisherman.
I haven't heard that.
So I used this in one of my coaching interactions this morning, similarly placed, trying to figure out the why. So I'm going to summarize this. There's a whole dissertation. You could probably Google it and find it. But Mexican fisherman goes out every day, catches a fish, and brings it back to the house, prepares the fish, cooks it, feeds his family, watches his kids play in the surf, hangs out with his wife for a little bit, takes a nap, and then goes on about his day. The next day, he does the same thing. And this guy, this tourist, sees him doing this for a couple, 2 or 3 days, says, you know what, you're really good at this. Let me help you build up your business. Let's get a couple of boats. Let's add some employees. Let's do all these things. The Mexican guy, fisherman, says, sure, no problem. So they do this, and they end up with a whole fleet of boats. And again, I'm taking this and just condensing it for the parable here. They end up with a whole fleet of boats, very successful business, and they sell it. And the guy decides he's going to retire. And his business partner, the guy that helped him get started, he says, so what are you going to do in retirement? He goes, I'm going to get a small boat. I'm going to go out in the ocean. I'm going to catch a fish. I'm going to bring it back to the house. I'm going to process it. I'm going to watch my grandkids now play in the surf. I'm going to go take a nap. All that guy ever wanted to do was do what he was doing when he first started. it kind of goes back to the book, The Alchemist.
Mhm.
The thing that you are seeking may be in the spot that you begin at, but yet you still have to go through the journey.
Mm. God, so good.
And really, is it about the destination?
No.
It's about the journey.
Mhm.
So Maria,
Rita.
or sorry, Marita, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So Marita, the one thing that may be true between the Mexican fisherman, the alchemist, and you is that maybe this is just part of your journey.
Yeah. It's a lot, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's tough to especially being a planner and somebody who works off a schedule and somebody who works off time blocking and things like that, to realize that it's not always about the destination. It's just about the process.
Yeah, I think you and I went through that too when we started peeling back in 2025. When we're talking about goal setting and stuff like that, it's not really about the goal of where you want to get. How is it going to make you feel?
Yeah. Because everybody does everything.
Right.
Like you don't buy the coolest golf club because it's going to make you a better golfer. It's going
So
to make you feel like a better golfer, right?
there we go. 100%. 100%. Yeah. So that's a good question too, Marita, is to think about is, okay, once you kind of get your purpose and your why and you set a goal for your business, and maybe it's a small goal at the first and you kind of build on that every single year. But when you attain that, how is it going to make you feel? Like in your gut, in your heart, you hit like, oh my God, this is exactly where I wanted to be. How is it going to make you feel? As Gigi Matako said, and marinate in that.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it, meditate on it. Um, and by the way, Marita, when Brent and I are talking about this, we're calculating how we're going to make some adjustments for ourselves as well. So your question is actually helping us. And so it's not
Yeah.
only helping Brent and I who are giving you advice, but we're thinking like, okay, you know what? That's a really good. When's the last time maybe I got sidetracked on my goal, or maybe I got sidetracked on my journey? And this is pulling me back in. And the things that we're telling you are the things that we've learned. And now they're triggers inside of in our world that will pull us back and get us refocused back onto where we need to go. Because we talked a couple episodes is sometimes you can kind of lose your path, and there's no balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to. There is going to be a massive imbalance along this journey. There's going to be clarity, and there's going to be blindness at the same time. So again, thank you so much for the question. I hope that answered out. I love to hear your comments. When we get this out on YouTube or Spotify, whichever one you listen to on there. But again, is your journey, what you're doing right now, and your question, you've actually just ripped a hole in the universe, not only to help yourself, but also to help others that are kind of sitting in the same quandary. So use this and share this to help others. So, but that's awesome.
I have I'll tell a quick story
Yeah.
to kind of align with this, Marita, and maybe you can. My question that came into it is: do you get the same feeling from doing one small arrangement that you do from doing 50 large arrangements? And is the stress worth the work, I guess, or is the reward worth the work? And here's where it happened for me. One of my businesses, I'm really really good at, and it makes me a lot of money for not a lot of time invested compared to my other ones. Like I could make $50 million a year, working 2 to 4 hours a day out at 3 days a week. But I just despise, and I mean, not even just don't enjoy, but just almost have I just don't, it's not good for me. It doesn't feel healthy. I don't like it. It doesn't feel comfortable. I don't like the people I have to interact with to get there. It could be my most profitable business ever, but I would fail at it miserably because I do not. And I mean, I can't even explain to you the contempt that I have for this. I started this business with a business partner, and kind of goes back to my book. I told you about my book a long time ago, many, many episodes ago, probably in the first 10. It's called The Social Experiment That Failed. I'm getting closer every year. I've been working on it for about 10, 12 years. But ultimately, it describes me aligning with the wrong people to start the wrong business that doesn't fit me. Like, I have no value in that business, and it could be hugely beneficial. But all I want to do, just like the Mexican fisherman, is catch that one fish, process it, go take a nap.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack just in that little sentence.
Yeah.
It's a lot. All right, my dude. Good stuff today.
Yep.
Any final words from you?
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Marita, for your interactions. We've been asking, begging, pleading. We did not send you $100 bills, but
that is sure.
It is well worth it. The juice was worth the squeeze, as a friend of mine says, on this interaction. I really appreciate you guys helping us with the subject matter. Yeah, just keep going out there, keep making a damn difference.
Yeah. So keep making a damn difference for sure. And Marita, one question that we didn't get to is, I know you have a hard time putting yourself out there, but just maybe do one every other day. Go putting yourself out there would go back and talking to 5 or 6 people that over the course of a day to 6 months, and asking them what it took, and then taking golden nuggets from them. That's putting yourself out there. That's being vulnerable. Is find some stuff. And one thing that there's a couple things that Brent said about not enjoying the process. And I think when you get to that point, because right now you may be in the honeymoon phase of this business and you're excited about it, what it can be, but really prepare yourself. Well, one of the good books I probably read about every other year is The E-Myth. Really good book to prepare yourself of entrepreneurship, because you'll get to a point that you're going to hate it for a little bit because it's overwhelming you. And it goes back to the Mexican fisherman that he talked about, that at the end of the day, he just wanted to catch a fish. And someone told me he did this and this and this and this, and it became a job, not a pleasure.
Yeah.
But if you guys, McCumber, you know where we are. We'll talk often, so we'll talk to you soon. I'm sure you'll be in an episode sooner or later on here. Be the most returning guest ever. And we love you for it because of your wisdom. And Marita, when you're ready, we'd love to have you on here. Write down a journal, share your journey, because sharing your journey is getting yourself out there. It's ripping a hole in the universe. And it's going to bring you more than you could ever possibly imagine on the good stuff. Then it will suffocate the bad stuff. So that's it for this week, guys. We really appreciate you. Again, as I said at the beginning of the episode, if this is your first or second or third time here, or your 103rd time here, share the show. And if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button. But we really, really need your help to get the word out there, because the more of you helps to get more of us out in front of everybody else and really change what happens. Instead of listening to Fox or CNBC and hear the downtrodden, we're actually going out, and this is our petri dish to making the world better. So thank you guys for all your support. Until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless, guys. Take care.